How are people reacting to this verdict from the International Criminal Court?
Well, there's been absolute jubilation here in Yopougon. I'm in near the city with plenty of Gbagbo supporters, and we're here at a bar where people gathered together this morning to watch the proceedings on a large screen. And as soon as the results came through, everyone's poured out onto the streets where they are now. Plenty of political clothing and T-shirts around, and there's also a lot of confusion about exactly what the decision means and whether he's free immediately, and people have been coming over to check with us the news, and from what we understand as well from The Hague and Paris. But here in this part of town, it's definitely a party.
Okay, it's a party where you are, but just yesterday, victims gathered in Abidjan urging the International Criminal Court to keep Gbagbo in custody. Clearly not a victory for them.
No, not a victory for them. In fact, this decision affects all of Ivory Coast society. We've got the extremes here, the pro-Gbagbo supporters, but then at the other extreme there are the victims of the violence from the 2010 post-electoral crisis. We went along to meet them yesterday because they were hoping to have a sit-in outside the National Commission for Human Rights here in Abidjan, but they were blocked by the police as they didn't have authorization. So they're going to be regrouping now to decide what are the next steps for them and how they can plead their cases as what they see as being a gross injustice. The country is still going through a process of reconciliation, and both sides need to come together. People here in this part of town are hoping that Gbagbo is going to be back, but they also understand that he's got an important role in the country's reconciliation efforts.
And finally, from you, you said there was some confusion earlier about whether how long he's going to remain in jail for. But what happens then once he is released?
Well, we're expecting that he will return to the Ivory Coast straight away. We had a sort of preview of this in December when there was a huge outpouring of fake news when there was a session at The Hague on his trial. People are already very excited back in December out on the streets. So we're expecting him to return. His supporters here very much hope so. His wife was freed from prison in an amnesty back in August. So she's already back home living a normal life. And we expect once he's back, then he'll resume again the work in the national reconciliation process.
Okay, Frank, thank you very much for that update. That was Frank Hersey reporting there for us from Abidjan.